Welcome to Question Barefoot. Today we have a question from Teddy in Massachusetts. In the United States, who's a guy in his late 20s, doing well, got a nice life, but spends his time worrying about the life choices he's made, all the way back from when he didn't really work that hard at school because he wasn't that interested in academia and so on. And like he's doing okay, but his thing is he could be doing better, looking at people who he perceives as doing better than him, and as he describes it, forgetting to look at the people who are not doing so well, which is a fascinating issue, because how we compare ourselves to others, it must be intrinsic to the herd bonding mechanism, but is not necessarily the most useful paradigm in which to live your life, because honouring the competitive spirit always, because that's part of nature, always honouring it, but rather than being led by it compulsively, to know there is an option, and it's not one or the other, it's a mix of the two that just sits right with you. And the other option is creativity. It's the idea that you create the story of your life yourself. And it has nothing to do with what other people are doing, other than you are inspired by people who are setting an example you admire, and you are influenced by their output. And the effect of all of that somehow adds to the fuel that comes from within, that supports you creating, or as you might say, manifesting the reality you want for you. And so at the times where you find yourself worrying, now this is actually another issue, worrying in itself is, well, it's a habit. I was going to say addiction, but I think this word addiction is being bandied about a little bit too liberally, but just call it a habit. And the habit is one that we generally inherit from one or both of our parents, who had inherited it from their parents. And the history of humanity has not always been a peaceful one, as we know. There have been times of great hardship, and so the memory of hardship is passed down. It's a genetic memory, and that inclines us to go with the inheritance of this worrying habit. But it is not obligatory. It's an option. It doesn't in itself achieve anything other than initially, when you're worried about something, you take note of what it is you're worrying about. Say, for example, something could go wrong. Then you figure out you actually make it clear to yourself that you're going to figure out what needs to be done to prevent it going wrong. And then you thank the worry part of you and tell it to rest again, rather than continue creating movies in your head, forebrain, about what could go wrong. You then find that life has a way of somehow working out. I think you'll find, if just the proof is we're still, both of us here, having this conversation. One assumes we are anyway. If things hadn't worked out, we wouldn't be. So it's about having the intention for things to be as beautiful as they can be, with as much plenitude as there can possibly be, where you are using all your talents, all your gifts to the maximum, and receiving the rewards for that in the optimal way that will support you feeling magnificent. That's your intention. And the rest of it is about coming into the back of you rather than being in the front of you. Relaxing into the back where everything is still and silent and strong. Breathing more slowly so that the front can settle down. Allowing the noise of all these movies, horror movies that you might otherwise create, to subside. Just breathe for a moment, open the heart up, let your chest be open and relaxed. And value and appreciate the fact that you have the greatest gift there is. You're alive, you're here, you have consciousness, you have a body, you have people around you, you have resources, and in this moment everything is fine and there is no reason to feel obliged to anticipate catastrophe. Instead, anticipate the opposite, which is, what would we call that? A glorious unfolding of reality, more elegant, magnificent, and wondrous than either of us could ever imagine with our limited human imagination. What do you think of that then? I hope that helps you, Ted. Anyone and everyone, leave messages, questions, whatever, and tell your friends, because it can be fun, this conversation. Thank you.